Raise your horns high and let your spirit flow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show. Feel the rush, let the loudness grow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show.
So thanks to our new friend Joe.
Our friend Joe Miller.
Our friend Joe from Defenders of the Faith Metal.com. And go check it out. He's got some cool stuff in there. And as he was talking to us kind of afterwards about the Paul Diano interview and that being somewhat of a challenge for him. But I think we'll have him back, as we mentioned. You know, he may make it out to go see Steel Panther, but if not, maybe we could pull him back for a end of the year thing, which we can get maybe Andrew, and I don't know, maybe we drag in Kendall or maybe even Tim James or somebody, one of the cast of characters
to go live on Rumble,
we could do that. Yeah, we can have everybody jump in.
Talking. Yeah,
a
lot of people talking.
That would be fun.
Various people. Yeah, so. Maybe we do an end of the year wrap up, the wrap up of the wrap up,
the wrap up of the wrap up, and maybe we could even do CMS favorite moment of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The CMS website.
You think if there is one?
I'm trying to think. I mean, maybe it might be just
the launching of the wrap up show might have been the highlight.
That was it. I think there got to be like Rumble chat moment of the year or something. Like it might be. Yeah. I'm so angry I'm shaking. That might be it.
That might have been the highlight. Yeah.
That could be.
We did scare her to the point she was losing gigs, ladies and gentlemen.
Whatever that means.
Words of some people on the internet who she's never spoken to, she doesn't know, and she apparently doesn't listen to the show, so they claim. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't know that this would impact her door dashing, but whatever.
Or yeah, like I said, if you're really in Switzerland and there's 6 foot banks of snow, like what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? Yeah, shoveling. Maybe she owns a plowing business.
Yeah, or maybe she's a chambermaid in someone's gigantic Zurich mansion or something. We
right.
have no idea what's going on there. So.
Yeah,
but we didn't mean to cost you any gigs. That was never the intentions, and unless those people in Switzerland happen to be some of the hundreds of viewers that we have for our episodes, I don't understand how they.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
How they put 2 and 2 together.
She was probably listening to On the Clock, and that's what got her in trouble. But whatever.
Yeah, or she was showing it to someone is what I'm thinking. But then that makes me wonder again, you are claiming in these chats that you hate us and you're not paying attention and you're not watching. And all of you people in the Rumble chat keep saying that, yet you somehow keep telling them on the show that you details that indicate to us you are watching the show or listening to the show. I don't understand how this works. So,
well, I don't know either.
No longer interested in sorting all that out.
Me neither.
Unless, again, the open invitation comes. If one of you has a problem, you can DM Ruben, myself, or the show page, and you'll get an answer back or an email, and you can come right here on screen on a Zoom thing on your convenience and work it out with us and talk.
I think what's awesome is that we are even executive producing that show, even when we're not trying to.
110%. I mean, we see that repeated.
It's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. It's like the same show. It's like Groundhog Day, every weekend. It's like, hey, did we talk about Doro and Warriors of the Sea?
Yes.
Or Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora? I mean, yeah.
At multiple occasions that's happened. And then we have Aiken trying to pretend that, we won't say pretend. We'll just say that he's thinking, or he can't even say that. Indications are that he might be wanting to curb the length of this goddamn show, Neely.
Sure. I mean, that's a pretty big hint when he's tapping out 3 hours in, right?
Sciatic nerve pain. And hey,
sciatica.
I think me and Ruben have both mentioned in our chat group that we've had the exact same problem, the same issue. And it's not fun. And I know
it isn't fun.
Yeah, you won't want to sit around
No.
on that for very
But
long.
does he not claim that he does yoga? I mean, I think the yoga would definitely alleviate that. And if he was actually doing it, because I know that's having gone to a physical therapist, they do stretches. The worst thing you could do for sciatica is laying down, which I found out the hard way when I first got it from running, which I haven't done in a bit, but I should really get back on it. I think Aiken's motivating me because I don't want to look like that. But the worst thing you could do is laying down, because I had a flare up on a Friday, just kind of lounged around Saturday, took it easy, and then just basically laid around all day Sunday. And then come Monday, I was really paying for it. And wound up going to see my doc, and then he made a referral, and you meet with the specialist, and the look of horror where they're like, "You did what?" And it's like, that's the worst thing you could have done. You could have gone out for walks, stretched or something. And yeah, that just makes it worse.
I had the same, mine was from a car accident in which a car was totaled, not my fault, someone else's fault. And I had arm and elbow and wrist damage and neck issues and all that whiplashy type stuff because airbags were deployed and all that fun stuff. And it was about, like you're saying, I get out of the hospital, I got my arm and a thing and all this stuff, air cast and all this stuff going on. And so when you get home from a car accident, your initial response is, I'm just going to lay down and rest because I just got my ass thrown around in a car, right?
Yeah.
After a couple days, I was like, what the hell's happening to my back and hip? It feels like someone's taking a fucking knife and stabbing me in my hip. And yeah.
One thing that I can definitely relate to, because I know when we were watching the clones on the Rumble chat, was when we were having our private conversation, and Andrew said something about, have you ever felt like your leg, when you were walking, like your leg was going to explode? I'm like, oh shit, yes. I mean, I could totally relate to that. That was the worst. And that's when I think I mentioned that, I went for my last physical therapy appointment, and the therapist was like, well, how's the leg? And I go, well, it's not doing that anymore. I go, and just the look of like relief on his face. I'm like, well, what does that mean? He goes, well, if it wasn't getting any better, I was going to have to refer you to a specialist. And I'm like, well, for what? Surgery? And they're like, yeah. So yeah, it's not fun.
No,
however,
same here. It took 9 months of physical therapy for me to get arm, wrist, neck, and back and hip to be somewhat functional again. I would still to this day say, because I'm an older guy now at 40s, I would say I'm probably like 85 or 90% of what I was before the accident, because I don't know if I'll ever be quite the same again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that particular issue, I had no clue, and they're in their physical therapy going, you got to stretch this way and lay here and move your leg over there and do this and do that. And once they started doing that, oh my God, the relief started coming. And I would go home and just start doing it on my own, because I was like, I got to do these stretches. Otherwise I can't sit around. Or it was sitting, standing, walking. Every step on that hip would be like, whoa, whoa. And it was like,
and it could be fucking months. I mean, think about this. That's all he does is sit around. He sits around, watch TV, sits around, does his IT shit, sits around, does these interviews, sits around for 6 hours.
I sit and drive, and working the gas pedal on that hip was not helping that sciatic.
We have to tie this into metal somehow, but I'll tell you, when the last the flare up that resulted in the referral to the physical therapist was actually on the fucking Metallica show, that when they performed in Portland. And, once you're in, it's like, fuck, Jim Brewer's opening. And I swear that cocksucker was on for like 2 hours. Well, what do you do in an arena? You have to sit down. This fucking idiot's just jabbing. And I'm thinking, fuck. And I had driven there, and I think somehow I aggravated my sciatic nerve probably the day before, going out for a jog. And then you sit, drive to Portland,
and sit,
and then you walk around a little, but then you sit for 2 hours, and then you stand, and then that audience there for Metallica, I mean, most of them sit, and so you have to sit because you don't want to be rude, right? And stand, and so that was miserable. And then you drive on the way back, and on the way back, it's just like, fuck, I got this thing flaring up again. Oh, maybe it'll go away. But that throbbing feeling where it's just like you feel it anytime your heart's beating. It's like you feel that pulsating fucking pain, sharp pain there. Yeah, like you're jabbing.
Someone
And it's
just
like, oh,
stabs you right in the hip.
it'll be
Yeah.
better tomorrow morning. It wasn't. So
No.
yeah.
And it goes right down your leg, all the way down the back, into your
Mhm.
knee, and feel it all the way down the leg, man. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's just not. And that's why. So I don't blame Aiken in no way, brother.
No.
If you're in that kind of pain, I would not want to sit there any longer for 6 hours listening to all that nonsense either.
Right.
I'd be wrapping it up immediately.
No
too.
shit. He was like, I'm tapping out. I'm
Yeah.
tapping
And
out.
Neely, if you need a co-host, Ruben or myself are glad to jump in, and we'll help co-host the show. Or we could do a 3-way and we'll all get in there and chop it up or whatever. But don't be afraid. If you
Don't
need
be
someone
afraid.
to step up. The wrap up show's here for you. That's what the wrap up. It's like again, if Howard Stern needed a day off, he probably would have called someone from the Stern wrap up show and said, "Hey, can you bring some content? Can you get in here and sit in a chair and help do something here?" So don't be afraid, my friend. We're not, if you think about it, Wendell, any of the things that we brought up on the show are things you guys said. You don't bring up anything you guys didn't tell us on your own microphone. So don't be mad at us that you said it. Doesn't make any sense.
And
But
what
let's
about
get to
the
show
condo
last night?
Well,
Yes. Let's get, I was going to say, let's get to the show last
let's
night.
get to the show. There wasn't a lot of it,
So,
but there was enough of it.
only was it 3 segments, right? 3 segments was all we got. I think after the paid segment was when he took out.
Poor
And so,
Robbie Lochner.
I didn't initially catch this as much, but Andrew, who's probably actually has the best ears and brain of all of us.
He's wheezy. He's wheezy.
He's a mental Rolodex of the CMS and what they've said and
No
when they
shit.
said it. He pointed out that Aiken blurted out that Neely's apartment, and then obviously for years we've heard Neely had a condo, so. It made Andrew wonder, is this really an apartment or is this a condo? It's like, in Evil's world, I don't know that there's much of a difference really either way.
I think I explained it. Right? I think when it's a minority, it's referred to as an apartment. When you're Caucasian, it's a condo, right? I mean,
yeah. When you're a life coach with a K, we might view it that way for sure. So that was a startling revelation that made everybody's head spin. We're trying to understand, is he living in an apartment, is he living in a condo? But either way, it's a gated community. We know he has a garage because that's where he stores the docking bike and the classic car and all this kind of nonsense. And but the show. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it
the
just
first
limps
segment
along.
is the usual. Yeah, hi, what'd you do? This and that, busy week, whatever that is. That's always that first segment is just going to always be them catching up. And part of me understands why, but part of me thinks like sometimes, why don't you guys catch up before the show for half an hour and then get on the show and start talking about because we don't need to hear the same. I was working. What were you doing? If there was obviously a highlight, you went to a show, I talked to this, I did that, or whatever. That's music related, we should probably hear about that stuff, but I don't need to know about you watched again. Sometimes they're telling me about episodes of shows and things. No, we don't need to know.
Do you remember the episode of Good Times? I mean, just stupid shit like that.
That's my point. I mean, and so like in our private chat group that we use for this show, we throw things to each other on YouTube all the time, but it's music videos or an interview or something related to what we're doing. We don't say, hey, by the way, I'm watching Golden Girls. Have you seen episode 15 of season 5? Like, no, I don't care.
No shit.
But they're always doing that. And then they got into their Robbie Lochner interview, which was fine, but
I feel bad for him. Like, it seemed like he was kind of like, what the fuck are you guys? Can you get to the point? I have stuff to do. It's Saturday night.
That's probably, well, I'm just gonna say, I think that is it. I mean, if I'm him, I'm wanting to give you 20 or 30 minutes. Let's get this going. And, he can, Aiken can blame the others or not regarding the IT issues, but it happens week in and week out, different IT issues. And apparently, maybe clicking to get into the chat thing wasn't as easy as he thought it was to be. And I'm just going to say, as someone who's been on a few websites in my life and used a few different computers and handheld devices, I've been to a few of the Aiken CMS websites and found them to be a clusterfuck of information that's hard to discern where I'm looking at and where I'm trying to find if I'm going to click on the right thing. So I can imagine if it's anything like that, Lochner was like, what do I do?
Right.
So that's it. And then the questioning.
Wendell,
how do you not understand what Robbie and Tony and them are doing at this point? you've done, I know Don's done shows with them,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they've teamed up and played some shows. So how are you acting like you don't understand that this is a tribute to Jack and the Great White music, and particularly probably some of the tunes that Tony and them are, being the guy that had the most time logged with Great White during the classic era years on their biggest tours. So how are you acting like you don't know? Because you asked the same question two,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 times in the
Yeah.
same, but Robbie's trying to tell you, like, dude,
Yeah.
like, you know what we do. Yeah. This
Yeah. I mean, he seemed like he was really nice, really polite, but he was getting frustrated because it was like, how do you guys not understand what we're doing here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have me on your show, did you do any research as to what's going on at all in any way, shape, or form? Even to listen to a couple of songs, something, and they did. That's why it was baffling to me.
Right.
Sometimes I have to wonder at that point, I do start questioning, and I'm just throwing this out there, completely just my opinion, my mind wandering. Is age playing a factor in the way this is progressing? Is the booze combined with the age leading to this, let me repeat things repeatedly? She's 19, Chris. Hey, Chris, she was 19. She was 19.
Do you realize she was 19?
She was 19. She's 19.
And then he gets
Dude,
giddy.
we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the same thing was kind of going on here, where it was like, because he didn't maybe like the way the answer came.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then he repeated
It's like,
it.
maybe if I ask it again, he'll change his answer.
It was almost, I know it was at least twice, if not 3 times that he asked that
Probably
question
3.
about, what they're doing and how they're doing this. And it's like, dude, you've seen it with your own 2 eyes at some point in time. And if you haven't, go to YouTube and hit the thing, bro. Why do you guys keep acting like you can't do that?
And this is a professional broadcaster on Eddie Trunk's level.
Supposedly, yeah,
Supposedly,
right. Yeah, it's like Eddie Trunk and Charlie Kendall neck and neck, and then they're right below those.
Yeah, they're
guys,
right below.
Right?
They're the next tier down. Yeah.
Yeah, but no. Again, you admitted you were busy at work all week and had no time for nothing. But so then you would not have done research on what's going on. You just heard the song from the previous week, but even that should explain to you clearly what they're doing. They're making new music, and new music may be new music that they're writing with Tony and Andrew and whoever, and if it's in the vein of Great White and they're still giving you 6 or 8 of the Great White songs that you want to hear in tribute to Jack, I don't understand how that's not.
Well, I mean, we got to ask him, hey, Robbie, is this a tribute?
Well, okay, here's what, this is a boomer thought process.
Yeah.
And let me explain why this is. When you get to Neely's age, in his day, you were either an original band or what they called a top 40 band.
Right.
Cover the top 40 cover songs, right? So in his mind, you're one or the other. There can never be both. You're one or the other.
Yeah.
That is an old, antiquated model that no one subscribes to, that no one thinks of music that way anymore. There's no clubs out there going, are you top 40 or are you original? It doesn't usually happen anymore. They kind of don't really give a shit as long as the show you're bringing, whether that's covers or originals, keeps people drinking, paying for tickets, dancing on the dance floor, buying whatever the deal is at the place. If you're bringing business, they don't care anymore. There's none of these rules. Now, once in a while, you might get a place that says, hey, because of these reasons, or you're opening for this guy, you can't do these covers, or you have to only play this or that. Okay, fine. That can be a one-off show that goes down that way. But Neely, open your ears, bro. There's a whole genre of, say, jam bands that don't just do originals. They do covers, and they mix them together and never stop. And it's one big fucking song, dude. And so at that point, you would say, is this an original song, or is this a cover song? Or is it all of it because they're jamming from one end to the other, to the other, to the other, and they never stop? So what I'm saying is, and if you see some of those bands, bro, you're going to go see some crowds that's going to blow Dawkins crowd right out of the fucking water, dude. Yeah. Much bigger venues, a lot more people dancing. And why is that? Is because in this day and age, we're no longer stuck on guys like us, the podcasters, the minutia people want to know who wrote what and what's on, who played what, and that's cool. But there's a whole slew, 80% of the rest of the population, most of the women out there, the wives, they don't care who played lead guitar on that track. They don't care with the cover of original. They want to dance. They want to move and have a good time. And if you're supplying that to them, they don't really give a shit anymore about all that stuff. There's a few guys in the crowd like me taking notes. Oh, that was a good cover there. They're doing original here. But there's a whole slew of people who are drinking beer, who are fucked up, having a good time, and they don't care. And I think more and more in this day and age, how often do you hear a rapper who has the beat of an old school R&B or pop hit
Oh
in
yeah.
the background, and he's rapping his lyrics over it? So they're
Right.
just merging all of the covers with the originals into one big pool of stuff, Neely. There's no longer, do you do this or do you do that? That doesn't exist anymore, bro.
Yeah.
It's 2025. That's a 1975 thought process, maybe 85 process. Even by the late 90s, my band was playing places that no longer gave a shit whether you're playing. You only had to tell them where you're playing covers or originals, so they knew as a venue, if they're paying the licensing fees to the ASCAPs and the BMIs, they might come in here and rain down and go, God damn it, they played a Michael Jackson song. You got to pay us a percentage, you know?
Right.
But most of those venues, if they're a place that's having live music multiple nights a week, they pay those fees outright every year and just say, bands, play whatever the fuck you want because I paid BMI and ASCAP. I don't care. So I'm saying that's a rare situation. It's not like that anymore, man. They don't. I can name countless artists who do original song, original, and then boom, here's a cover, and boom, there's a cover, and here's original, and there's a cover, there's an original. It's just the way it is, man. So, and honestly, even that for him, let's just say Ruben, is a bullshit thought process. Go listen to Cream, which is in 1966, 67, and 68. And what are they doing? Original song by Jack Bruce, blues cover by T-Bone Walker or fucking Howlin' Wolf or whatever. They were doing cover, original, and jamming them all up. So this is not a new thing.
And then when you think of Great White, I mean, they had so many covers themselves. They would do like the you know,
Alan Niven brought all those.
Alan Niven brought some of the Angels you know, tunes. They brought in the Ian Hunter tune. You know, I mean, they covered a lot of stuff. Yeah. So even for a series of albums, I mean, it seemed like they inserted one cover tune in there. So, you know, and those were kind of the concert staples hits to a degree. So, I mean, even Great White wasn't so original.
The video hits for sure. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that likes Lady Red Light and a couple of these other tunes, but for sure for the video songs, the cover songs were the.
But think about that.
For Quiet Riot, well, wasn't that the same formula?
Yeah, Slade. They had two Slade tunes.
Slade. Yeah, there you go. So. My point is, like, even back then, that really wasn't a thing. And no one looks at Cream or Quiet Riot or Great White goes, well, you're not an original band because you did a cover. So I don't.
You're not like Don Dokken.
I guess in Neely's mind, because there's no Jack Russell, this can't be Great White. There's a guy over there on guitar and used to play bass that's in all the videos I grew up with in the late 80s, bro. His name's Tony Montana.
Yeah, right.
Like you see him in I think the first video, was it Rock Me or something? It was the other guy.
Yeah, what was it? Warren Black
but most
or
of
something?
the other, but most of the ones you and I would know on MTV,
the hits.
You see Tony on bass and you see Audie on drums. And for those of us who were in that era, those are the five guys we know. I don't but the other guys, these instruments, I'm all, who's that guy? I know.
I have to make
I don't know.
I have to make a mental note because I think Lochner at some point played in Fight, which it just kind of jogged my memory.
I
have to ask him about that because
the first time I think I read his name was on a Fight CD or something.
So I have to remember that because that's got to be worth. There's got to be some cool stories there.
Is that when Russ left, or was that with Russ? Would be my question.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
They were definitely a 2-guitar band, so I don't recall how that transpired. But yes. So anyways, sorry, Robbie. I don't know why Neely was stuck on that. He's literally saw you guys play shows with Don Dokken, so I don't understand how.
I know. He was there.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I don't.
What's funny here, and we should point this out because for decades they've railed on people that they feel are inferior interviewers. And what did they do last night? I mean, they were kind of like scrambling like they were first timers, you know, and these are these experienced broadcasters.
There's just this thing, like, it's called teamwork, guys. So like the second that Neely started having to work with communications on Lochner to get something worked out, Aiken, you should have been jumping on the mic and saying, well, you know, about this and that and the other, let me fill in some time here, until they get to help each other out. You guys both sit there with dead air going, what do we do? Do we cancel this next week? Don't do it next week. It's like,
I mean, I think they're notorious for saying that they don't pre-plan anything, and that really showed that they really put zero effort. Or unless maybe this is, again, throwing this out there, maybe this is Aiken's way of, leaving Neely out twisting in the wind, going, well, fuck you, pal. You called this guy. You should have done the prep.
That could very well be the case. I can definitely see, what I'm sensing is just as a longtime CMS listener is that I think Aiken does want this show to be shorter. He probably would move this off a Saturday night fucking in a nanosecond if he could find another day or time that Neely would do the show. And since he does shows Tuesday, Thursday, by the time he gets to Saturday night, I think he's fucking done with this mic, done with this fucking shit, and I don't really want to be here. I've already talked to Seth and fucking Cap and
and
so
dealt with a guy that dresses up as Count Chocula.
Yeah, and as an email from a rock star once said, he is probably a really nice guy who just stretches himself too thin.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what's going on here, I think.
Right.
So, that's what I'm saying. Neely, if you need a co-host once in a while to give Aiken a Saturday night off to let him go have a couple of brewhas and chase some tail, Evil and Ruben will come right on the show and start chopping it up with you tomorrow.
Maybe he wants to go have a threesome with Moon Faces and his old lady. I don't know. I mean, he sure
or
seems
if he just wants
infatuated.
to go down to, or if he just wants to go hit the Sheets and Sassy's or Fanny's or whatever that bar is he likes to go to, what I'm saying? Fuck, dude. The guy, I can imagine if you told me we had to do our show every fucking Saturday night, I'd tell you we're not doing the show every Saturday.
Yeah, I mean,
night.
it wouldn't
That's
happen every Saturday, but again, it seems like it would be more feasible for those two idiots to shorten it to like 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm saying.
And then they could do solid content instead of this. Hey, well, how was your week? Well, my week was, it's just like, fuck off.
And then you only got to really come up with 2 segments. And if you get a guest, like we don't have a Lochner, have someone call in on that 3rd segment and spice it up, then you don't really even got to produce much there. They're bringing extra material just by being on the show. So I don't know, man. It just... Well, I can't. We're just not even gonna be able to sort all that out. I don't know if the show is devolving and is going to eventually just go kaput, which we're not indicating any way we want to have happen. We're a wrap-up show, which is somehow wrapping up their show. But at the same token, if they go away, like, we're not going to stop our show. We'll just keep on going and do what the fuck. By then, we're already doing what we want to do anyways.
I hate to say it, but then it might be the cap-up show. I mean, I've never watched Chris Aiken Presents. I just have no interest in a guy dressing up like a fucking serial character.
There's times where they do some legitimate conversation that I can listen to, but definitely when they do the fright bites and some of the other stuff, I tune out on that for sure. It's not my bag of, and we've goofed around a little bit on this show, but nothing to the level that they're doing. I'm not making you guys sit through an hour and 30 minutes of the Blob while I dress up as a character and make fucking
maybe they'll have the hair metal guru on there. I still wouldn't watch. I mean, I didn't watch the Stevie Rochelle thing, even though I wanted to. I was like, I just can't. I can't.
Yeah, that would probably make me not watch if they had the guru on there. But
it'd be like a 4-hour marathon.
I was thinking about this the other day when they do that fright bite stuff. We're gonna do. Guys, I'm 47, and I remember about 25 years ago there was a show called Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Right.
That did everything that you're doing, only better. And with funnier movies, and not just horror, but a whole genres of different kinds of movies. And if you like that kind of stuff, which I actually enjoyed Mystery Science Theater, that's already been. You go get some of that, dude. They cover most of these movies. Some of these newer ones they might be doing, but again, I don't watch new horror movies. I pretty much don't watch new movies at all anymore.
Right.
Probably the last 5 years, I don't know if I've seen a single new movie, maybe 1 or 2, but. So I don't know what to say, guys. I hope that you're devolving the show into a different format that would benefit you guys, a shorter format. Don't be afraid to let Bob Leather leave a voicemail. Don't be afraid to have Kendall Peters on to talk about something that she went and did, like seeing George Lynch recently. There you go. I'm just saying we can just follow her social media and see she saw Air Supply, she saw George Lynch, she's seeing stuff. So, maybe talk to her once in a while and ask her how that's going, what she's doing. Just spice it up, gentlemen. The going over news articles from CNN or MSNBC or the Times or wherever you're getting them, Wendell, and reading someone else's news article to me, I check out, bro. I'm not interested in that. As soon as you start going on about Swedes and airlines and yelling and this and people no longer, or what's going to happen to their food cards or your social commentary, no longer listening, bro. I mean, I have the show on in the background, but by that point I'm in the kitchen doing something.
Right.
You lost my interest in that. I'll come back when I hear you say something about, oh, Robbie Lochner is going to be on. Okay, now I'm coming back. You got something music related. That's just me, man. I'm just not interested in all that stuff. If I am interested in that stuff, the internet has an endless supply of political commentary. I can
Right.
find all kinds of details on the internet. I don't need two guys in a cornfield in Ohio and Chicago telling me what they think about the world. Just saying, there might be guys out there in the world who are more global and have a better understanding of the world. So we might want to listen to them. I'm just saying, I'm not, again, that's why you're not going to hear a lot of that here, because what we say that's going to help you guys.
Right.
So with that being said, because the third sponsor segment wasn't all the first two stories were related. Wasn't all three of it social commentary news stories he's reading from another source and finding his humor in and cutting it up with a cocktail and all that kind of stuff.
He was already shit-faced, I think, before the show started, I think.
I was going to say, I think by that second segment when Robbie came on, part of the reason why we're getting the repeat syndrome is because that's his second or third cocktail and he's starting to get sauced. So, and then, they went to Neely's Good Time Radio Hour where he spins the tunes for you. And I didn't know where to find that. Apparently there was a link on a new website. You had to go click to get only that audio feed. And if it wasn't on Rumble, I just turned the fucking thing off because it becomes, again, more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah.
I'm okay with a YouTube or a Rumble app. I can figure those out and have them on different devices pretty easily, hit play and listen to you. As soon as you say, get off here, go on a computer or on your phone and turn on the website and click the link and follow that.
How do you think because we're talking about Neely being shit-faced and then the shit-faced followers, all 20 of them, I mean, they're sauced before that show starts too.
Oh yeah. 100%. We saw that in the room that we were watching during the Rumble broadcast. We could clearly see them making mention that Jackal was hammered. So, so then they think that we're going to listen to their commentary of us when they're fucking sauced on a Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, they can't even come up with something good. So
am I going to go to every bar in my town and listen to some drunk guy at the end of the bar mumble to me his thoughts about shit too? No. No, bro, come on.
But remember they did, and I wonder how this happened. This was probably by design, right? They had Sal call in, and he called in only to be berated and insulted and hung up on. I mean, this is the kind of treatment their clones
My
get.
take on that was on the chat room because they couldn't get Lochner and they were having the dead air. Sal thought it would be cool to help Neely out and call in. Neely, being Neely, saw the number, knew it was Sal, so safe to answer, going to answer that call. And Aiken, being anti-phone call, anti-Sal, was like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't want to talk to this guy. Get him out of here. And which goes back to me telling you guys keep posting this in the Facebook group as well, saying, why is this person not on the show? Aiken doesn't want anyone on the show. That simple. Unless it's Lochner and he invited him or some other guest that he's invited himself and set up and made happen, he's not having you call. He's not checking the emails or the voicemails. There is definitely no open lines. And they're not interested. Basically, you got to be, I think at this point, it seems like you got to be a name. You got to be someone they know in a band or something that's going to give them some shine. Otherwise, there's zero interest in them talking to you.
Right.
So,
Yeah, somebody that they can send a link to. But
yes, something that maybe if they talk to this guy in this band might get us on Blabbermouth because he said something and he's in a band, which will get us some shine because people want to hear what that guy in a band said, which makes sense when you're trying to promote your show. Aiken is good at doing that. I'm not knocking him. Their network is that big because Aiken goes around interviewing people that will help get them some. And credit to Aiken, he asks better questions than Neely does.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which is kind of surprising, again, like you said, that the fact that he didn't intervene and have like at least two questions that could have diverted the waterhead co-host that just kind of couldn't grasp the idea of what Lochner and the guys in the band were doing, or the vision for this Once Bitten.
Mhm. I think that goes back to Neely always goes, well, they're releasing music. Are they releasing new music? I
Yeah.
totally get that, bro. Like I understand in the commercial sense, again, coming from the 1987 perspective, they're not going to sell 1 million records. They're not going to sell 50,000 records. They'll be lucky to sell 1,000 records. Um, I understand your thought process there, but as a musician and a band, sometimes you want to do something because you want to do something. It has nothing to do with commercial value or whether I think I'm going to make a buck or not make a buck. That once that starts entering the equation, you're corrupting the thought process of the art of creating the music. Sometimes you just want to create music because you got the riff and you like it and you want to bust it out and put it on a machine and let some people hear it. If that's only ends up being 50 people versus it was 500 last time, well, so be it. But as a musician, sometimes you just don't care. And so Neely's always, I think, looking for the financial perspective, or he's thinking like Don Dawkins would think, wow, but what this is going to equal money in my pocket, you know? And some of these guys are have other gigs, bro, or other ways, or they're making enough in the band as it is playing shows. They can do whatever the fuck they want with their recordings because they're just having fun.
Well, they didn't even ask anything good. Like, I mean, I hope they didn't sabotage this. But the one thing I was going to ask him too is this something sanctioned by the Jack Russell estate, and is this something that they needed to get a blessing from them? And also, did they get any feedback from Alan Niven? You know what I mean? Like, good questions.
I don't think there was any mention of Niven, but
No.
they did mention has Robbie and them had contact with Jack's ex-wife, which I don't know if that's who runs his estate or not.
I believe
don't know
so.
Jack's affair. Okay.
Yeah.
Robbie made it very clear, no, they have had no contact. And it didn't sound like he even wanted to even step into the waters of that conversation. So probably says a lot when it's just,
if you remember, I think you might have jumped off the interview, but there was somebody we spoke to that off topic or off camera said you really ought to reach out to Jack's I guess, I don't know if she was his wife, but partner, because
I believe it was his wife when he passed.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
how,
okay.
like a year or two before they got married, a year before he passed, I believe they got married. I
Mhm.
don't know much about her. I just seems to be what
maybe
I'm
the
reading
hair
on the
metal
internet is-
guru will get her.
Or yeah, if there's a way to reach out to her
Yeah.
and get her on our show, I would talk to her just to hear her side of things. I can say, just from reading commentary, and this is just commentary, opinions, no facts. I don't know. I was not in any of this. She seems to be kind of a controversial figure. I think it seems some of the people, how do we say this? I'm just going to throw this out there. Is anyone familiar with Greg Allman, the Allman Brothers?
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Greg-
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So towards the end of his life, he married a rather young,
Right.
much younger woman. And she essentially, well, it was his wife, but caretaker and take care of everything for
Mhm.
Greg because he was in his 70s and needed
Right.
someone to keep an eye on the guy. And I think it became a controversial, not that she, out of her own doing, just became a controversial figure in the Allman Brothers
Yeah.
fans world. Is this young woman who's 30 years old is taking care of this 70-something-year-old guy? I'm not, again, that's not my bag, and I'm
Yeah.
not in any way. I think that's kind of weird and gross to me. But
Was that
I
big,
can
like
also
Ghoul Tales?
it could definitely
could fall under Ghoul
borderline
Tales.
Ghoul Tales. But I could also just from reading her posts on Instagram one time, I kind of saw a different side of it. And it was more like
Yeah.
she cared for him in a way as an older guy who clearly needed someone to not be there for his money, but to just fucking get him up and get him
Yeah.
dressed and get
Which-
shit going because he was having health problems and no
Which-
one would seem to be in that sphere at that time doing
Yeah.
that. So
There might be some parallels here, because I think Jack's wife was a nurse, or is a nurse.
that's my point.
Yeah,
I'm trying to say these guys get to a certain point and it's almost like, hey, this person's caretaking for me or whatever it is, however you meet them, or they fall into that role. Women like to take care of dudes, as we know anyways, though. I'm just saying. So I kind of like, although I thought the age was creepy, I could genuinely see how, and from her perspective, this day, it seems like she's pretty devastated at losing him and how well they connected as people. And maybe at some point they just saw something in each other that had nothing to do with age and just had to do with companionship relationship and they were happy at the end. I don't know. I'm just saying it seems like Jack's had kind of a similar situation where a younger woman came in, was taking care of him, helped
Sure.
get him through some shit because he's got health problems and shit going on. And who am I to say, hey, you don't love him, or who knows? I mean, unless you're in their day-to-day sphere, you know, and then even then you can't pass judgment on these people. You don't know what the hell is going on between them.
Right.
So what I can say is I don't think if Jack didn't end up with someone like her, do you think he would even got those last few years?
Probably
I don't know if
not.
he
I mean, he was
no,
in.
he
I
was
think
a-
I think I had mentioned to you guys when the last time he performed in Portland, he was with a Warrant, and no, it was Great White, Quiet Riot, and Black and Blue, and yeah, I was like, I saw him walking around the Roseland, or but shuffling around, and I was like, there's no way this fucking guy's going to perform tonight. And then, as I had mentioned, I think when we spoke with Niven, it was like all of a sudden he's on stage, and it's almost like he flipped the switch, and he's mobile, more so than he was with the cane and everything. And yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, I
well,
don't think
and
he would have made it.
I've been in, I told you, I was in a car accident. I had to play a gig literally, I think 2 weeks or so after that car accident.
Right.
I taped up this entire arm, put it in a kind of a sling to keep, cause I play the bass guitar because that was my picking hand, and just kind of kept it in the position to pick. I was loaded out of my mind on painkillers. I don't remember this show probably at all. There's pictures. I saw pictures one time. I was all, where was that at? And I'm like, that was but I got through the show. I knew the songs mentally and physically well enough because I played them so many times to just roll through a set without even thinking. And I was out of it, man. So I could imagine, and that was because of adrenaline, painkillers, and I only have an hour and a half. If I could just give it all for an hour and a half, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wait a minute.
I could see how. Yeah,
it's Wheezy. He's
it's
saying
the
he heard from Shelly Rocks, and he says only pussies play with picks.
So, but the point is, so I could see how a Jack Russell or someone in their advanced, even a Greg Allman at the end of his life, could find a way to get up, wheel me up to the stage, and I'll find a way to sit somewhere or crouch or get a mic stand and prop myself up for this hour and a half and get through this. And seeing the crowd, hearing the rush of the people, combined with some help from a doctor, and you probably could find a way through a show.
Right. And it probably was that, because it's like, God damn, this guy is like, moving around a heck of a lot better than I ever thought he would have. I mean, it wasn't like the 80s again, or the 90s even, but it was just like, fuck.
But there were periods in the late 90s where I saw Great White, particularly, I believe, when they had the Ty Longley guy prior to the fire.
Right.
And there was some moments, I mean, from like year to year, where I saw Jack and I went, man, he's thin. And then I went, man, he's bloated. Man, I was like, my mind is making me think, what drugs is he on? Because he does not, from just 9 months ago, he looked this way, and now he looks like that. What's going, the weight back and forth. So I'm just saying, man, when you live a lifestyle that's filled with that much chemicals or cocktails and things going on, you would get to a point like Jack was, where you're going to need help, dude. There's no way you're going to enjoy your 60s and 70s and 80s if you get lucky, right?
We gotta read this, because I was just directed to go over this. This is off the Classic Metal Show fan group. And there, where we talked, where I think, who was it? Oh, it was you. You posted the sciatica meme of Aiken, but somebody posted, this dude is in the worst shape I've ever seen. Maybe stop eating 3 boxes of Oreos and 5 2-liter bottles of Coke per day. No, maybe hit the stationary bike once in a while. Not rocket science. So that's directed at Mr. Aiken. Yeah, I mean, it's sound advice. It's just common sense.
Yeah, and I always go back to, I try to give him some benefit of the doubt. He's been through a catastrophic burn that destroyed parts of his body, and he's had to recuperate from all the, who knows, I don't know physically what that does and allows and doesn't allow. I remember one time he made very good point that he doesn't sweat because of his pores and his skin, so because of the skin graft. So that's different for somebody. Maybe he can't go out and like do certain, because it doesn't feel good. Who knows? I don't know what that results in. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
clearly things are changed for him.
Well,
So
it's
I
gotta
try to
be.
give him some, but at this point in time, I think sometimes we were just advocating, hey, dude, like, like be active, and maybe go for that walk. Maybe, find a part-time job where you have to actually move around and do something other than just sitting at a desk all day long. I mean, anything getting your legs going left to right, walking is going to be more than just sitting there, which is all he seems to be doing. So, but you have to also question at this point, isn't Aiken, he's like I said, the doctor told him, you're going to live to be this age.
Mm-hmm.
He's past that age. So he probably just doesn't fucking care anymore. And
True.
just like, fuck it. Every single day is just a bonus day. And if I can fucking get it, I get it. And I'm just going to do it my way. So
Yeah.
I can say, when you've had traumatic events in your life and you've seen death or close to it firsthand and what that can be like, it does make you come back. And when that traumatic event's over and you regroup, it does make you kind of go, fuck it, I'm going to do all the shit I want to do right here, right now, my way, because tomorrow could be the end for
Was
me
that
too,
like
right?
eat like
So.
5 Pizza Hut stuffed crust
I don't know if
pizzas,
I'd
or-
go that far. And I definitely think part of, he doesn't say this because he's always like, well, I don't eat sweets. Well, it doesn't have to be sweets. If you
Yeah.
got the burgers, the fries, the onion ring, and all the shit from Sheets delivered
Sure.
to your front door with DoorDash every day, you're still going to be fucking a gigantic motherfucker. So, as we pointed out in the chat group, even if you're throwing the fucking pizza in the oven just because you threw a pizza in the oven doesn't mean you're actually making anything of nutrition. It's
Sure.
still shitty food. You're going to gain weight.
Well,
Now,
and-
again, you could be like me where I'm like, hey, dude, I'm over halfway point in my life, so I kind of don't fucking care
Mhm.
anymore. And who am I looking to impress? Because I'm not looking to get a chick, and nor do I want to. I just don't fucking care. So
Don't care.
Aiken might be right there with that. If that's the case, hey, bro, cool, whatever.
Well, he's not
man.
going to
I'm just saying
steal
that-
Drake's wife looking like that.
I think he's been looking like that for a while, and I think that Drake's wife has wanted to jump ship and had to jump on that for a while. So, which tells you something
Oh,
what's going
yeah.
on at home with the old Drakey boy there.
Yeah, I mean,
That's kinda
Drake's
scary.
wife though, she could. What's that saying? Drive maggots off a gut pile. I mean, oh my god, eek.
I mean, that's
She makes Shelly Rocks look like a supermodel.
and Aiken always when it was audio only, he always talked her up like she was this hottie. And then when I saw the photos, I was like, and then one time he had her on the show and I heard the voice and she
Mhm.
was like, "Hey, what's going on, Chris?" And
It's
I
like,
was like,
whoa.
"Whoa, that's a chick! That is the most deep voice I've heard on a
That's
man
like
since
a 3-pack a day smoker chick.
like Jim Norton's wife's voice."
Oh, yeah.
right? And
Yeah, right.
you start wondering where did that voice
Maybe
come
that's the same deal.
Hey,
I don't
guys.
know.
from. I don't
could
know.
be.
Who knows? Not saying that. I'm just saying it was a deep voice for a chick, and then some chicks have deep voices. I'm just saying it threw me off. I was like, because again, Aiken made it sound like I'm going to hear Pam Anderson come up on the microphone and be, "Oh, hey, big guy," and it didn't come across like that, and I was all, "Whoa." But let's just move. We got a couple of news stories I want to just touch on just to get your thoughts because we didn't really get to discuss too much of this in our chat group, but a couple of things we might have. But so number one on my list here, because we're a music show. Let's get back to some music talk. Those knuckleheads never talk music. Peter Criss just going to drop a new album on December 19th, which happens to be Evil's birthday. So I was kind of
nice.
stoked about that date. And I'm hearing that there is rock music on this album, which makes me curious as
Right.
to what we're going to get here.
If you listened to Ed Trunk's show, it sounds like Billy Sheehan is going to be on it, and so's John Five. So
John Five. That's what I'm saying. He's got
Yeah.
some guys in the band, and I
Yeah.
think he's just doing the vocals, which
Mhm.
Pete can sing. We all know Pete's
Right.
got a good voice for rock
Right.
songs sometimes. If they have guided him to a couple of catchy tracks here, it might be something for Pete to actually
Mhm.
kind of hang his hat on as a final thing for his career, and that's kind of cool. And I'm going to be the kind of person that as soon as it hits the internet, I'm going to be on my YouTube music going, hit play. Let me check this out. Might buy the thing if it actually has more than 2 or
Yeah.
3 songs.
and I think I mentioned to you guys, you and Andrew, and maybe Henry Lee, because we've been chatting with Henry Lee. It must have been like a couple of years ago that Richie Scarlett, who used to be in Frehley's Comet and Ace's solo band there for a while, released like a single. It was just a CD single type of thing, but it was he had Peter Criss on it, so they were kind of sharing vocal on there, and it was pretty cool. what was it called? It was titled,
I'll
and
have to check that out.
I
I don't
have
think I
it.
heard that one.
It's titled The Catman and the Emperor. That's what it is. So
Okay.
you could find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I bought that just because, it's the only way you were going to get it. I think at the time he was just releasing the physical CD single, and so I bought it. But that was kind of cool. I would have liked to have those two guys collaborate again, just because of the connection to Ace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool. I mean, it sounded
Yeah.
like something you would expect those two guys to come up with. So it's worth checking out.
And Richie's a hell of a guitar player and a good singer, and quite frankly, should have stayed in Frehley's Comet the whole time, is my opinion. But I think his partying ways was combining with Ace's partying ways and equaling self-destruct mode on the Frehley's Comet. It was going to burn. The Comet was going to burn out too quick.
Right.
So, but yeah, no. And so on this Chris thing, I kind of already like the artwork. I already like the little teaser video. Seems kind of cool. Had the Halloween kind of creepy vibe theme to it. And it just seemed cool. Like whoever's doing this with them, I think is making this at least already make me interested. And what is Peter doing? This is actually looks kind of rock and roll and kind of cool. Something the Catman should be doing, in my opinion.
Right.
So, rather than just sitting there. I mean, I understand he can't probably physically play the drums at almost 80 years old for 15 songs a night, but he can sing just fine, and let him do that. So I'm sure he won't go on tour, but maybe he'll do another one of those. What's it called? The Knitting Factory, or one of those New York places he's always pulled into doing a show. So that's going down, which I thought would be cool for Christmas and my birthday. And then I'm reading that it was a tough decision for Rush to make this comeback. How tough of a decision do you think this was, Ruben? Because Evil's opinion at these ticket prices and the amount of dates that are being thrown out there, over more and more dates being added, I don't think it was that tough of a decision, at least not financially speaking.
Well, it doesn't seem that way now. I think when they announced those 3 or 4 major cities, that would have been one thing, because then it would have been an isolated thing. Like, this is special for LA. This is special for New York. This is special for, whatever other cities they were slated to perform. But now they're like, oh well, now we've added this show and this show and this show and this show and this show. I mean, now it's more of a tour, right? Where before it was just kind of like, okay, they're just performing 3 nights here, 3 nights there, 4 nights there, or whatever it was.
Quite a few now.
Yeah.
And it seems like the character more. I mean, I think there's only been 2 announcements of different, but it was initial and then more added to it. And in my mind, I'm thinking they're probably going to add a third, or by the time this one gets done, they're going to be, well, that was so successful, we'll be back in another year to do. But the other thing I was thinking with them is, like, do you think it? And I'm not going to. This people are Rush fans or anything. Fucking this guy. But do you think that they chose a chick drummer to lighten the criticism of anyone?
Probably. I mean, it is a good, I thought of that too myself there. It's like, well, if we choose, they could have chose a trans drummer or something like that, and it would, well, they're not going to rail on the drummer, but I mean, big shoes to fill regardless. I don't know.
I'm
there's got to be something
a guy
to it.
Drummer that something would the fans have taken it harder that a dude drummer is stepping into Neil's spot, then they're going to be able, they won't be as comfortable saying that when it's a chick.
Who do you think is the one drummer or a drummer that people wouldn't have freaked out about if they inserted him as Neil Peart's, like, now I don't want to say replacement, but understudy or whatever?
That's a tough question.
I mean, the only person I can think of is probably Mike Portnoy.
You're saying the name that first came to my head,
right? Because I mean, and not only because of, I mean, he has the accolades and the the discography and the experience, but he also has what's the word I'm looking for? Like, he has that reputation. He, I mean, he would probably be well accepted, I think.
He's one of a few. I was thinking the other one that popped into my head was Danny Carey of Tool. I think that he's skilled enough and has a name with Tool enough that if he sat in for Rush, that people would be like, holy shit, this guy could probably cut the mustard and then
Don't you think what would have been really cool is, like, let's say they would have just kept the major cities that they were doing it and rotating a different drummer for every city. You know, that would have made it
crossed
special.
Evil's mind.
Yeah.
Yes, that had crossed Evil's mind if you had, or maybe just this guy's doing 10 dates and this one's doing
Right.
10 dates,
Right.
and this one's doing,
Right.
and get your see
Make
the
it like a
band with different.
special thing.
I didn't
And I
wonder
know
that.
and I know even with the, you know, they're bringing on a keyboard, maybe you insert a different keyboardist. You bring in like Derek Sherinian for, you know, this date, and then you pull in somebody else for this date and somebody else for that date. I mean,
Adam
then
Wakeman or someone.
yeah, and see, that would have made it more of a celebration, kind of like what Pantera's doing, you know, with the Zach and Charlie stepping in, and you know, I mean, it's still Pantera or named Pantera, but you know, it's something different than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, I just thought that was interesting. It was a tough, I didn't think, I mean, like, I can understand the tough decision that we're going to play without our buddy, but that was 10 years ago. Like, I don't think that was a tough decision in 2025 to make. You're like, hey, I'm going to get a drummer and go make
And I'm thinking about this too. I mean, because I again, I think the last 3 tours that Rush did, I saw, and they were all great, but I mean, after that, it was like, well, these guys are done. And then with Neil passing, I'm sitting there going, I don't know how I feel about going. They did announce that Seattle date, but I'm like, fuck. You know, the tickets are cheaper than, you know, like the Kia,
in LA or New York.
the Kia Forum, you know, but
And
it's
Madison
just like
Square Garden was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
That's
But
insane.
I'm just sitting there going, no, but you know, I kind of saw them at the tail end, and you know, those 3 tours were like top notch, man.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like with Motley, you know, I saw them in 15. I'm not going to go see them ever again. Let's say even if they brought Mick back, it's not going to be the same. He's going to be so, would it be rickety? You know, if he can even perform, it's just not, nah.
No,
That-
and
that-
even if I had gone to a stadium tour, it wouldn't have been for
No.
Crew. It would have been despite Crew to see a
Mhm.
Poison or some of the other bands that are on the
Right.
lineup. But even that wasn't enough motivating me to want to go deal with a stadium.
Right.
So on that, a band that is coming around that announced at least a Seattle date, which was at least, you know, but kind of a long drive for me.
Mhm.
But a band I've wanted to see that I never got to see is Halloween is going to be coming.
Oh
to
no
Seattle.
shit! I haven't even seen that.
Yes, they just announced it, I think, yesterday or the day before, 26 dates.
Do you know where it's at? What show? What
The
place? is it?
Paramount
Paramount,
Theater in
oh,
Seattle.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So tempting because that probably would be a good venue. I'm thinking that's the place I've heard
that
of
might
before,
almost
a
be
lot of-
worth going to see and doing a road trip, a CMS Wrap Up Show road trip.
I was thinking about it because they've always been on my bucket list. I had a buddy
Right.
I used to work with years ago who was from Belgium.
Mhm.
And so he would always turn me on to the German metal bands. And back in those days, I'd heard of Halloween, but I never really digested. He said, no, you got to listen to Halloween. And I put on Halloween. I was like, fuck, this guy's rock, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's cool about them is that they initially had done the. Well, they didn't do it here, but they did the Pumpkins United. You know, when they had both the singers kind of doing, and that I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, wouldn't it be cool to see like Anthrax do something with John Bush and Joey, and they do a tour, and they, you know, they do both catalogs. I mean, probably
I'd
more on
always,
the Donna
as
but-
a Van Halen
Yeah.
fan, secretly wish they would do a best of both worlds and give me a set of Roth and then a set of
Right.
Sammy and then maybe like 4 songs at the end where they alternate vocalists, and it would be totally cool in my
Mhm.
opinion. But of course, no one was ever going to do that. So,
Right. But no, that would be cool to see, because that would be awesome to see. I mean, I do have a couple of the, let's see, they've done 2 DVDs, I think, with both singers. They did one from
Yeah,
Budokan,
I-
and then
I-
one in some festival in Europe or whatever. But
yeah, that's the one I watched on
yeah,
YouTube.
but that is fucking cool. I mean, just the way they trade, you know, lead
The
vocals,
vocals back and
yeah,
yep.
and it
the
works.
stage setup,
Yeah.
they kind of came down on the thing on the riser
Mhm.
singing. It was awesome.
Right.
That's what made me go, damn, if these motherfuckers come to the States, I might have to catch this.
Mhm.
So something about 40 for 40, or I don't know, something. I just briefly caught it right before we decided to come on the show, and I was
Mhm.
scrolling through the Facebook, and I'm like, oh shit. And I saw that they were doing US tour, and then I said, is there a Pacific Northwest day? And the only one was in April in Seattle. So I have to think
shit.
about that. That might be something I might end up trying to find a way to. And then lastly, before we wrap this up for the night here, I was interested because Karabi put together the solo band.
Oh, the
and
Karabi and Friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and it said members of Tesla, and I looked, and it was Troy.
Yeah,
Troy's
Troy.
bust out on drums. But that's, and the lineup looked pretty solid. That's a good fucking.
Well,
band he's got right
who do they have on bass? Bob Leather. Who do they have on bass?
Who do they have, Bob?
They have Michael Devon on bass from Whitesnake. What do you say about him?
It was the beard, the facial hair. He doesn't like guys with facial hair.
The guy with the facial hair.
I'm one of them. He's looking at me going,
"Oh
shit,
shit,
that shit off."
I might almost do the arm tattoos, and that way I can do like metal cowboy on my forearms just to kind of irritate him.
You'll definitely try. Bob does not like his rockers to have facial hair, and he wants them to be glammed out.
Glammed out.
Glammed out and clean and trim.
Can you believe
so
guy?
Karabi's got a nice solo band he's putting together there. I was surprised to see that Troy's going to go out and do some shows with him, but that's cool if that came in. I didn't see the dates. I just saw the
no, I think they're doing Europe first. So can you imagine? I mean, Troy can't tour the US, but he's going to go to Europe with Karabi.
Yeah, well, let's just be real. That was all in regards to your old COVID, ladies and gentlemen. Your COVID, the feelings regarding COVID literally broke some members and bands up because they were like, I'm not doing this and I'm doing that, and you won't do this and I'm not doing that. And so in some of those cases, I know for a fact Troy was one who was not going to load up on the shots to hit the road. That wasn't happening. So he was like, if y'all want to hit the road and I can't go, it is what it is. Hire a drummer. Give me my little percentage to stay home. And to this day, Troy, I do understand, is a owner of Tesla. Didn't give up his ownership in it. He's not the guy on the tour because of those restrictions. And I don't think it has that much to do with the guys in the band. I think it's when they go do certain shit, the cruises, these things, you got to have shots and paperwork and shit lined up and visas and things happening. And when certain boxes aren't checked, they're going to look at and say, this guy can't come here, or you can't do this date, and we're already in another country and now he can't play. I'm just saying it got weird there for about 4 or 5 years. And I think it's still there's still ramifications. I was saying this to someone else in regard to Halloween and trick-or-treating. Why is there still not as many kids as because they still ever since the pandemic ruined Halloween, no one wanted to go house to house. And quite frankly, I don't think my house has ever had the kids that it had before because there's just no one out there going door to door anymore. They just
they do the trick or treating through town, all the local businesses, or the trunk or treats, which is basically the same deal.
Park your car and walk to the parking lot and get some candy. And I understand, but to me, it's like, man, that's over, and we should no longer let that be the divisive thing in our country or us as people. And we should no longer be walking around worried that our kids can't get candy from people next door. It just seems like, but that's what if you did at least 2020, 21, 22, you were not going door to door and doing that. And so I think that just ingrained it in people's brains. Now they never go back. It's like Ron Paul once said, when was the last time they applied a tax and then said, okay, we're done with the tax, we'll take it off?
Right.
They never, once the tax on you, it's on there for good. They're never, once you give them the purse and they give them the money, they're not going to turn around 5 years later and go, we don't need that money anymore. You can keep those couple of million back, guys. It never happens that way. So same with these rules. It kind of fucked up those bands. And I'm 99% positive in Tesla's case, part of the initial thing that made Troy no longer play live was I'm not getting the shots. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, as a person who has to wear medical bracelets, I was told by a doctor at that time, 100%, you're the guy I'm not going to give the shot to because you're the guy who's going to have weird allergic reactions because you have weird allergic reactions to all the shit we give you. So I was, one of those people who, you don't have the shot. I was medically told by my doctor, don't get the shot, dude. You're not the guy. So just deal with the COVID like I did and moved on with my life. And I'm still here and I don't really seem to have any lasting effects that I'm aware of. So are you there? We lost your mic.
I was going to say, thanks to our buddy Joe, who's, we'll be back at some point. I think probably before the end of the year or around the end of the year. Yes.
And we'll see if, I will openly say, I don't think I told you this yet, but I give it the news now. Breaking news. Evil's got a show with a band next weekend on next Saturday night. So I will not be tuning into the CMS and I'll have to listen to a replay later.
I'll listen.
But we'll see we'll see if there is. We don't know if Aiken's sciatic issues and nerve issues are going to allow him to.
I think, you know, we were just, well, we were talking about it, but yourself and Andrew and I, that, you know, when I went through that, fuck, it was probably 5 or 6 weeks of misery. I think the way I put it is I felt like I wanted to chew my leg off. It was bad.
9 months of physical therapy, and there was periods where I'd start feeling good for a week or two, but like you said, you do something and tweak it, and then you'd be right back. Oh, what? Am I back to square one? What the fuck? So it's definitely one of those things that doesn't just go away tomorrow. And sitting around, laying around, doing certain movements is going to irritate it worse.
Maybe Drake will sit in.
You know, again, Wendell, we're here for you, buddy.
Yeah.
If you just gave Ruben an apology, Ruben would get on the mic and talk to you for a couple hours. And
I mean, I would,
show, but
I would,
yeah, so.
I would definitely be okay with that. I would accept.
Yeah,
that.
and I think he would feel. And I think he would feel more safe with you because he knows you. Me, I'm the wild card that they don't trust. So there's no chance.
Brother, he doesn't trust his own family. What the?
No, doesn't. The long lost brother that makes him feel bad. He doesn't want to have feelings clearly. So. Well, thank you guys once again for another classic metal wrap-up show here. Where, you know, I was thinking, you know, we always signed off by saying "bye, kids" or something about the fuckies or this, that, and the other, and that's kind of their shtick. I don't know. We got to come up with our own way.
Yeah,
of
like
signing
hail and
off,
kill.
You know? Yeah, they have hail and kill and hand job and all that kind of stuff. We got to come up. We got you know is the only thing we've ever we threw up on our logo.
Well, I mean, that's crazy because the Unos were off the chain last night.
Woo! Yeah, there's been a couple of shows where I was like, if we actually just either did a tally or, God forbid, we did something like the drinking game, we would be plastered after the first segment because there are like a lot of Unos.
That's awful.
Yeah, I don't know if that comes from the... Again, he said he was born in Chicago. Is that a Chicago thing? Is everybody in Chicago? You know. I don't know. Is that I've never.
I don't know.
From Chicago.
We should have asked Joe.
Yeah, we should ask because he's from. Hey, Joe, you ever heard someone?
Well, we'll add that to the list next time he pops in. We'll ask him.
And we should tell him that if he happens to go to a Dawkins show at the Arcata Theater, there's a guy he needs to look for and give him a little tug on the lunch lady arms and say, "Greetings from the Wrap Up Show."
Well, we don't want to get him slugged. You know, Neely's such a badass.
Oh, Neely would never. He's a pacifist. Neely's not going to fight anyone. He was hiding under the desk when they stole his car. And...
Like, Taylor, would you mind taking care of this?
Yeah. No, he would just play. Oh, it's just radio shtick. You know, the Wrap Up Show guys. They're all right.
They're all right. Hey, my brother's one of them. All right.
My brother is one of those guys. He's a goofball. I don't trust that guy. But, right. You know, because remember when the guy wanted to stiff Don the money, I think Neely went in there and settled up with a nice conversation.
I don't
he's
believe
a conversational.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
You don't think he's the enforcer?
No. Are you kidding me? I think Aiken has a better chance of being the enforcer, and even then, that's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, but I would agree. Because he's getting older. Aiken in his prime, though, probably give you a shot.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't doubt that. Now they'd be like, sit down, Jelly Roll.
He'd get one punch, he'd be
right.
Hold on. Time out on the fight, guys. Time out. So.
Oh.
All right, y'all. So until next time, whatever we're to call you fucking knuckleheads, we'll see.
Yeah. All right.
Raise your horns high.